That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time. Time for the good news, the bad news, and the other shit. Good news, bad news, other shit. If any day could be an example of that, it would be today, ladies and gentlemen, because it is exactly that. It's good news, it's bad news, and other shit. And first of all, the good news. What a wonderful weekend in terms of political activity. How inspiring to see the youth of this country take to the streets and lead. And let me remind people, it's not the first time that this has happened. Similar situation occurred in Vietnam, dealing with the Vietnam War, where, again, you had a bunch of the older folks who were willing to go along and the younger folks whose efforts and activism actually led to the end of that war. So, again, for people like me, it's refreshing to see this and a reminder that there lies within us a spirit of activism, even though time and age tends to diminish that light, and so the parents tend to be comfortable, I guess. But take a look, you guys. You know, still getting the estimates in. Okay, Vic, let me look at some of the stuff I was getting, because I was trying to get the actual final estimates in. But this March for Our Lives could have been the biggest single-day protest in Washington, D.C.'s history. And that's a big deal, because when you think of the protests, including civil rights, the famous speech, all of those things, different numbers, though, when you look at this, and especially in these days of social media, where you get the word out, because the kids got the word out. People estimate over 800,000.
Right.
Over 800,000 protesters attended. Wow. They said that this was bigger than the inaugural Women's March, which brought 500,000. You were wondering what was the next biggest thing. So, man. So take a look. We want to again salute the kids, give them a little bit of thank you.
Yeah.
Because first of all, they're doing it. Oh, here's my numbers. Let me give you the other numbers to give you example for comparison, Vic. The March for Our Lives, over 800,000. The inaugural Women's March, 500,000. The 1969 famous demonstration against the Vietnam War, 500,000.
Yeah.
The Million Man March, depending on who you believe, between 450,000 to 1.1 million.
Right.
Depending on who you believe. But the March on Washington, 1963, that was only 250,000, but at that time, record-setting.
Yeah.
So you can see this is really a big deal. Wow. Now, every reaction to this has not been good. In fact, a bunch of it has been bad. Rick Santorum, Republican, suggested that the students should learn CPR.
Oh, Lord.
Now, as a physician, an emergency pediatrician, who, unlike most of you, has actually had the opportunity to do CPR countless times in life-threatening situations, it is not even something most physicians do well. Okay? That's why it's reserved for a small group of physicians. Because unless you're doing coding and resuscitating someone on a regular basis, guess what? It ain't something you want to pull out the hat every 3 to 5 years, okay? All right?
Right.
So the idea of teaching, that's a joke. That's a joke. As I said, CPR, they make physicians do it and get certified in it, and to go around and ask a bunch of them. And I can guarantee you about 85, 90% don't ever want to be in a situation where they have to provide CPR. It's a small minority of doctors who do those kinds of things. Go on, Vic.
No, my question became not even a question, observation. They said, have you ever, from the medical perspective, and other doctors chiming in and said, have you seen what they call approaching a CPR AR-15, assault weapon as it hits his target, and then you respond. He says you literally are not thinking of the CPR. You're literally seeing the demolition of someone's body right there, and everything's hanging out and everything's destroyed in this sense. So the part that gets me is that you wait for the rush of the stupidity to hit, and you just go, well, we know Trump already says what he says. Rick couldn't help it. Rick had to go there. So for Rick, he is so busy on this other side of what he wants to say. Look, you need to get involved in all. And I'm going, ask Rick the last time he stood over somebody in the midst of an assault attack and witnessed it while trying to survive, and then go, wait a minute, CPR. I'm just saying, man.
And I can tell you, it takes years of training just to grow the cojones to handle it in real life. Okay, that is a stressful thing.
I can't imagine it, man.
And you have to know you're the best person for the job, and your life is in your hands. What a horrible thing to do to an untrained person. People don't understand, especially when confronted with that. And what's so funny, it's not funny.
No.
But what's so terrible about it all is that usually you're confronted in these situations with multiple tragedies. And I've dealt with a lot of death. Lot of death.
Right.
Like I tell people, I know death very well. I smelled his breath.
Right.
But I usually got him almost every time, one at a time.
Right.
One death at a time. Even though a county hospital in a horrible night, you could have 2 or 3. Okay. But usually when I had to deal with death, it was one at a time. I can't imagine 5, 10, 15, 20, or something like where there's 50 shot, dying people.
Hey, look, no.
I dealt with it. I'm a LA County, USC, one of the most prestigious medical centers in the country. I ran the pediatric ICU, and I can't imagine that degree of death coming at you that fast. And believe me, I've seen death coming fast. That's incredible.
Hey, look, how you doing, Ray? I got you, man. I see you. Love it. Thanks for joining, man. And thank you also. Look, the part that he doesn't get is that who wants to think about after the attack, and engaging in the attack, that you're going to go, just give me my moment now. Hold on. I'm going to go over there and do CPR. You're literally in what they call a war zone. And how he's thinking is, this is the part where I said, who voted for him? I said, remember, this was your governor. What was it, Pennsylvania? I can't remember where he was a governor at.
Oh,
this is who you voted in. I'm not saying he is not intelligent. I'm saying he had the idiot box on, and that was the idiot box comment. Now, that doesn't mean that he doesn't have some, an intelligible conversation, but he just laid waste to being trending. And he did a favor where Trump goes, I'm not saying anything. I'm not jumping.
He was a senator from Pennsylvania.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Former governor, I think, also.
I'm trying to see it. Does he see a governor here?
Yeah, I mean,
Republican Party, senator. I thought he had another office too.
Yeah. He's
Oh,
he ran for
He ran
for president in 2012.
That's what I remember him from.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, obviously an idiot. There's a bunch of idiots, and there's also a bunch of people that it's amazing the lack of guts it shows you. See, I used to wonder when I was young and I was studying history, I never could understand how Hitler took control of Nazi Germany.
Easy.
Now I get it.
Yeah.
You get a cult of person. Would you ever thought that Trump would have pulled this off and have the whole GOP kissing his ass?
Right.
This is how Hitler came to power. You get a cult of person. Imagine if Trump went online today and said, it's the blacks or the Jews. That 30%,
Right.
They start loading their weapons.
Right.
Because they've been ready to do that. That's their whole code and legacy, too.
Yeah.
So what if he did that? So now you can understand, because I'm trying to understand how Hitler took control of Nazi Germany, to me, always made me think of a society gone mad. Now I understand how societies go mad way better because I'm living in one.
Right.
And watching stuff occur that you would never have imagined. So again,
yeah,
here we are today. So it's Richard Santorum. Okay. Additionally, by the way, so we might as well finish up on this. The president is yet to really respond to any of these things.
Are you more specific to the march or?
Well, to the march. There are those things, and Stormy Daniels, and we'll talk about.
Yeah.
There are those things for which he, is quiet. On a good note, you guys. First of all, there's a quiet teen that they say who rescued 17 people.
Yeah.
Rescued 17 people in the Harvey flooding, and because of that, he's winning the National Citizen Award. I thought I had a picture of him. I guess maybe here it is.
Yeah, it's always
here he is, you guys.
Always good, man.
17 years old. Say 17 people. Wow. And quiet. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And so they have the people that are talking. Let's give some love out.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Boy. Virgil Smith.
Got to give him props. 17. It's hard to just get one. Okay. Got to give him props, man.
He's 13.
Wow.
And he rescued 17 people.
Wow. See? What does that tell you?
I was kind of big at 13.
I don't know.
I didn't rescue those 17.
But
look at the size of him. He's a nice, big, healthy young man.
Yeah.
And look at him. He looks like a quiet, calming spirit, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Thank God the police ain't after him. So anyway, that's another thing. Got to give it up for him. Okay. Other stories. Black Panther. Officially the biggest superhero movie in the U.S. box office history. The biggest superhero movie.
Right. It just got knocked off its shelf by Pacific Rim. So look how long that run has been, man.
Oh, because the leading over the weekend. They had more viewers over the weekend.
Look, man, I got to give them props.
Look how many weeks Panthers been sitting number one every weekend.
Every weekend.
For weeks.
Yeah.
For weeks.
What's up, Ricky?
Give it up, you guys. I got to get some clothes. See, I wore my cap, my Captain America. I don't have any Panther stuff. I'm ordering some stuff. It'll be next month probably because it's on demand. And figure out what you want to wear. I have some Black Panther stuff, but it's on the back.
Well, I tell you what.
I need it on the front.
How big will it be during Halloween?
Oh,
everybody.
Now, of course, that means you're going to see every version of Black Panther.
Everybody.
Black Panther with the beer belly.
That's jacked up.
And the man tits.
You know what?
You have every kind of Black Panther. That might be me.
That is just wrong, man. I'm leaving that alone.
Black Panther. Some Black Panthers you're not going to want to see.
Oh,
you're not going to see. You're going to say,
no, man.
Don't be it.
Okay.
Okay, so commentary on the president, because now we got to deal, like every week, I got to deal with the weekly Trump disaster update.
Okay.
Now, the weekly Trump and first of all, I don't know. It was the most anticipated episode of 60 Minutes in some time. For me, I can't remember. It's been a while. Stormy Daniels goes on 60 Minutes. They make some deal. I don't know how they work it out, but so Anderson Cooper is the one who interviews her. He's on CNN, but I don't know what their contract. Great. But anyway, he comes over to do the interview. And, the question I bring up, I said, well, does she add fuel to the storm? Really? I was really kind of unimpressed. Anderson Cooper did his best. He did his absolute best to try to keep it from being just a tabloid kind of a news report. Because what happened is you didn't really get any new information. at all, first of all. That's the first thing. So you got no new information except for one or two salacious points, like that she took a picture that spanked Trump's butt or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So other than that, who gives a shit about that? But other than that,
Right.
you didn't really learn anything else. I will give Anderson Cooper, like I said, credit because it's really his professionalism that kept the interview from deteriorating into something else. But in terms of really bringing any insight, essentially none. So it was really kind of, to me, anticlimactic.
What would you expect based on them going to court? How much more would you think that they would want to say, hey, look, we could talk about this. We could talk about this.
Not much more because I watch enough of the programs and see her attorney, Avenatti, and he says it all in terms of confronting Trump.
Yes.
He actually gets in their face.
He's trying.
Challenging them. I know they're pissed off. He's all in their ass. He uses the media well.
He's trying to goad them so he can respond.
They're doing it, and they're doing a good
it,
job of it.
Yeah.
They're doing a good job of getting underneath the skin, and because I dislike the president so much, I can't help but be a little tickled at times. But I think it's dangerous. See, the problem is, you guys, that the president to me is a scary thing because he's an idiot, and with the recent firing. The recent shakeup in his staff, McMaster, his national security advisor, he dumps them.
Right.
And he brings on John Bolton, who's a certified idiot. Go look. Like I said, there hasn't been a war he hasn't liked. Okay? Right. You talk about Eddie, he's a man who likes any war. He wants preemptive strikes on Iran, North Korea, everybody. What's amazing, though, is that he's kind of hawkish against the Russians, too, and that's where he and Trump have a potential falling out point. So, but the big thing is that he has Trump's ear, and because of the upcoming stress points, there's potential for great disaster. With John Bolton speaking in his ear, whispering to Trump, crazy things could happen. When you get a rabid dog cornered, they tend to strike out. And that's what I'm afraid of. I'd say before, I wanted the president confident and comfortable and believe in the hype right until the day you slammed him.
Okay, if he gets rid of all of his people that he says, I have great teams, and there's not that many people left, isn't it by default that you run into people like John? I'm just going, if everybody's being exhausted.
It doesn't have to be. For him it is. In other words, if you're trying to find people who have similar nut attitudes, then you're going to get nut people.
Yes.
By the way, the other two the attorney husband-wife team, DeGenova, who was supposed to join, and I love it when he hires incompetent people. So every attorney I know couldn't wait for this.
I know.
They was this horrible lawyer team that you can't wait to get in court. Can't wait to get them in court. I've heard that from attorneys about Gloria Allred, too.
Right.
I've heard from a bunch of attorneys who told me she is not anything in court. But interesting when you hear about this stuff. So Trump was going to get these people. Suppose there's a conflict of interest because they represent another person.
Right.
On a different issue.
Right.
But he also probably was told by the other attorneys there's no way they're going to work with them.
Right.
So that's the problem, Vic. You got him surrounded with a horrible legal staff on his own. The ones that are appointed, like Don McGahn, he's supposed to represent the White House and not him in particular. Mm-hmm. He's going to be gone soon. In terms of his individual counsel, he fired the lead counsel that was Dowd, well known. They have been unable to replace him. And so now heading into this crisis moment, you have the president with an idiot hawk national security advisor, a reduced legal staff, feeling that they have no power over to control the president at all.
Right.
And you're heading into a crisis period, dealing with the Iran deal,
right,
and also a supposed meeting with North Korea, which John Bolton, your national security advisor, says we should preemptively nuke them,
Right.
bomb them, whatever.
Right.
Okay? So that's going to be a crisis point to hear how Trump approaches his meeting. Now, a bunch of other folks are writing me saying that they should just take Dennis Rodman with them to North Korea, watch a bunch of basketball, and then everything will work out okay. You'll see some detente. Come to some meetings. But there's no question, you guys, in all seriousness, this is a crisis time. And I do think that it behooves us to have the president comfortable. I don't want to I'm so worried that he could do something crazy. One of the big conversations that went on with me on Facebook is I put up some comments that Roseanne Barr said, who do you want? You want Pence? I said, yeah, I'd take Pence over Trump. I don't think Trump is sane. Pence is a nut too, but I don't think he would nuke North Korea. I'm sorry.
Right.
Say, well, people say, well, he has a lead. I said, he won't get any long, no matter who they put in office when they remove Trump. And Ryan is the person that's really supposed to be, ultimately, I think, because I think Pence is going to go too. Pence is next, then Ryan. No matter who they do, they're not going to get anything accomplished. They couldn't get anything accomplished controlling everything. They could get nothing accomplished. What makes you think they're going to get anything accomplished without Trump? No. So whoever gets to be president, once they impeach Trump, they're not going to accomplish anything. They're going to just ride out the time to the next probably Democratic candidate. So that's what I think. So yeah, no. I think Trump is number one,
right.
The most dangerous. After that, there's a gap.
Right.
Then there's people like Pence. Okay, but there's no question our country's in sad shape.
Okay, who's worse? Hold on.
And things
I'm going to give you three
rough.
names. I'm give you three names. Philippines, Duarte, North Korea, Trump. Given them that they all have the ultimate number one power at their control.
If Trump was in North Korea, he might not be that different. Let me put it like this. They both, Duterte and Kim Jong-un, are killers. If Trump wishes he could be king, he might be a killer too. But right now, I put them in this order of being Duterte, Kim Jong-un, then Trump. Okay, because Duterte is crazy.
Putin.
Kim Jong-un acts crazy, but isn't. Putin is a fox. He ain't crazy at all. He is a fox.
Okay, so I just
or a wolf. Putin is not crazy at all. He knows exactly what he's doing. He is smart as shit. You don't get to rise up to the KGB.
He's been there.
Oh yeah, so it's a whole different level. Yeah, man, Trump is an idiot who knows nothing.
Wait.
He knows nothing. He doesn't read. Come on, he knows nothing.
So
I'm sorry. I spent my whole life struggling to learn and gain and get better. And here comes an asshole who doesn't want to learn, and he's president. You elected an idiot. He's an idiot.
Well, let me just say this: is that your first? Is that our first president who we feared with the button? No, feared on the button, because it's not about the idiocy.
No, but the button's only been here since 1945, so you've only had a number. You had Kennedy.
Right.
The biggest one would be your Cuban Missile Crisis.
That's right.
Okay.
That was close to.
Right.
Very
other
close.
Than that, no.
Mobilization.
There's been other crises, even with North Korea.
Right. No, I got
you. The ship that they took off, they took, and so there's a bunch of things. But
okay. All right.
Rough times.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Everybody. That's the good news. The bad news.